The mentality I've had is just, or I've tried to adopt, is radical transparency. So I will get in front of 700 people and I will just tell them this is what we're doing right and this is what we're not doing right and this is what someone is doing better than us.
What is the mentality that you need to have? Right? Because while it's easier to say that as an entrepreneur, you need to be thick-skinned and that's nuance, right? Or that's conjecture in some way. But what is the mentality? Like when you go into the office or when you're talking to a team, what is the mentality you need to have? And maybe there's a press release that's not so comforting to read.
The mentality I've had is just, or I've tried to adopt, is radical transparency. So I will get in front of 700 people and I will just tell them this is what we're doing right and this is what we're not doing right and this is what someone is doing better than us. And when people are not second guessing what is happening at a leadership level, and we literally tell them, we're saying, guys, this is our thought process. Like I've had town halls where I tell them this is our thought process on how we're going to hire so that we don't have to lay any of you guys off, which some of you have experienced in your previous organizations. And like for a lot of people would say that's crazy. Why would you just like talk about what happens in a management conversation to everybody in the company? And like just talk to them about like the steps you're taking to prevent this from happening, to prevent X from happening. Or let's say the steps you're taking for a fundraise, right? Why are you doing what you're doing? Just giving people like the broad management sense, not just like a vision, but also like the actual ground strategy that we're implementing. Like why are we doing this? Because we have a fundraise coming up, or why are we doing this? Because we've got, you know, this specific thought process on our hiring. It's put a lot of people at ease, right? Where you can actually tell that, okay, there's no, and the best thing about it is when you tell people that this has gone wrong, or you tell people that here's the bad news. But when you set that in and people are like, okay, here's the bad news and like this is a failure case that we have that we're dealing with and we're trying to solve and this is what we're doing about it, and you set that culture, people trust you a lot more. So if you say, hey, things are going well, don't worry about this, it's a lot more impactful if they've heard you say things are not going well. Don't worry about like the positive things you're saying, things are not going well. When they've heard you say that, they believe you when you say the other piece. So when we tell the 600, 700 people that, hey, this press release, you know, you guys viscerally know it, but this press release is not that, like, trust me, it's not that important. We've got a lot more context, and frankly, like, unequivocally, we're winning. People believe you, and also the good news is that the bulk of our organization is on the ground and really executing on the ground, and they can see, frankly, with a lot better visibility than I can, what I'm telling them. So if I tell them that, hey, player X is in a bad shape and we are in a very good shape, right? Which frankly is not a conversation we have very often. But even if I tell them that, right, the ground people will be like, yeah, we know. Like, you know, it's like we are very much visible of what's actually happening on the ground of Hyderabad or Chennai or Kolkata or Bangalore. And so if you're honest with them and it like feeds into what they know is true as well, people just have faith. So